Welcome, ladies and gentle friends, to this important public service announcement from the Stress Management Society and International Wellbeing Insights. We have been considering putting something together to send out to all of you for the last few days, and given the gravity of the situation and how seriously it's impacting daily life, we were compelled to put something together for you this afternoon to really talk about this situation that's developing around the world. One that is combining all of us, something that, regardless of where you're from, or nationality, or continent, faith, sexuality, sexual orientation, it's something that is affecting all of us right now. And the world is currently gripped in a very, very scary situation around the coronavirus. It's a combination of the boogeyman, the grim reaper, and it's starting to realise a lot of our fears, many of which are born from our fascination with Hollywood films. So let's just get a few things cleared up, and I'd like to share some facts. Our sources of information, which we will reference, are the World Health Organization, the Centre for Disease Control, and Public Health England. For me, those are the most reliable source of information that are out there at the moment, because a lot of what I'm seeing shared both on social media and mainstream media are opinions and sadly a bit of fear-mongering. Because let's be honest, news outlets, media channels essentially are profit-making organizations, and they want you to consume their products. For mainstream media, their products are their newspapers, magazines, and their news programs. When you watch them, and particularly when you watch the adverts, that's increasing their revenues. So actually, I want you to come back and keep consuming. And at the moment, this has probably been one of the most newsworthy stories that's happened in peacetime in recorded history. So it's got us all hooked. And let's get one thing clear. If you have ever had a cold or a flu at any point in your life, the chances are it was the result of a coronavirus infection. Yes, coronaviruses cause common colds and common flus. This is just another strain of that. We are being slowly and systematically programmed with the belief that this particular cold virus, this particular coronavirus, is deadly. And this fear has shut down concerts, it's closed borders, it's closed schools, it's literally shut down life as we know it. Life has ground to a halt. This fear has led to quarantines, preventing international travel. It's created a situation where people are fighting in the supermarkets for toilet paper and paracetamol, which is astounding. And this is the one thing that is concerning me more than anything else. I was talking with my colleague Duncan earlier, and I was describing what I am concerned about as being two pandemics that are happening systematically. And he corrected me, saying, no, actually there's three. The first pandemic was fear, the fear of coronavirus, not the virus itself. That was the second pandemic, was the coronavirus, COVID-19. But the third pandemic, which we are going to see, inevitably we're going to see in a very short period of time, is the mental health pandemic. Now, mental health is one of the biggest issues we're facing on the planet today. Poor mental health, should I say. It's already costing us approximately 3,000 lives a day. That's 3,000 people that take their life every single day. Most of those people are men under the age of 45 or 15 to 29-year-old youths. So this is a very compromised group. We know this because statistically speaking, they are the ones that are most at risk for taking their own life. Now, interestingly, those are the ones that are at lowest risk for COVID-19, but they will be having to self-isolate, removing themselves from work. People that are self-employed or working in smaller organisations may be fearful and concerned about job security, about their futures, which in turn, when you're adding to that isolation, segregation, separation, disconnection, feelings of loneliness and isolation, can further exacerbate any potential underlying mental health or emotional health issues. So our big concern is, number one, this fear that's being perpetuated by the news and media outlets, which are adding to the obviously ongoing issues around coronavirus, COVID-19, but which are then, as I said, potentially going to start leading to, inevitably, issues around mental health, which we're going to start seeing over the coming months, where people are going to be suffering, and many of those potentially are going to lead to quite extreme outcomes, which is something that we are very, very concerned about. So that's one of the reasons we put this message together today, just to really start to talk openly about that. The health of the people that have died so far, as has been reported, were already compromised. Healthy people get colds and flus, and those already sick and near death's door may experience, sadly, the loss of life when infected by any virus, not just this one. People that are suffering from cancer, going through chemotherapy, are very prone to infection and illness, and potentially could die from a pneumonia or diarrhea. So things that many of us that are healthy and fit could easily cope with, potentially could be the final nail in the coffin for someone that is sick. So this is one of the things I do want to get across, is we really need to ensure that, number one, we're keeping ourselves fit and healthy, but also we're not necessarily going into fear and panic, because the majority of us, 80-90% of us, even if we do contract this illness, the symptoms are going to be mild, or we may not even know we've had it, because the symptoms will be so mild. But there's one thing that I do want to talk about, which is stress. Obviously, our subject of expertise is stress and poor mental health. As has been established in many, many studies around the world, stress is responsible for up to 90% of all illnesses, which include heart disease, cancer, diabetes, musculoskeletal issues, headaches, migraines, and a whole variety of other things. When an individual is in stress, you produce hormones like adrenaline, cortisol, which literally shut down the immune system to conserve the body's energy for running away or fighting the saber-toothed tiger. Now, they are so effective at compromising your immune system that doctors regularly provide recipients of organ transplants with stress hormones to prevent their immune system from rejecting the foreign implant. Now, we know this to be true. The conclusion to that is the fear and stress caused by the panic around coronavirus, COVID-19, is far more deadly than the virus itself. Going into stress, panic, fear, and anxiety is only increasing your chances of contracting the infection, and also increasing your chances of having a more severe set of symptoms to this. And sadly, the media seems to be continuing to compromise people's health by using this fear card. And the result of this negative thinking could be described as the nocebo effect, which is the opposite of the placebo effect. So this is where I think we do need to start being positive, and also understanding that we have power when it comes to how we react and respond, and how we deal with this situation. Now, power, this commonly used word, for any of you that have attended one of our workshops, you'll know this is something we talk extensively about, a word that we have heard a million times in our life. But when we apply the word power to a human being, what does it mean? Control, influence, strength. I used to believe these kind of things, but I'm going to encourage you not to believe anything I say. In fact, anything that I say in this video, I implore you, don't just believe me because I said it, because that would be just like watching the news or going onto Facebook and believing what people tell you. I encourage you to fact check everything that we are sharing with you today. And if any of you are needing references, please get in touch and I'll provide you references for all the information I'm sharing with you today. This word, if you look it up in the dictionary and apply it to a human being, quite literally means the ability to do or act. Someone that is powerless, has no ability to do or act to change their circumstance, which could be also described as being a victim. Right now, we have tremendous power in terms of how we choose to act in this scenario. You have the ability to do something, and later on in our little message today, I will be sharing some things that you can do. to massively increase your chances of staying healthy and protecting yourselves, your families, your loved ones, your colleagues, and your communities. So remember, that's a key point. Fear is a massive immune suppressant, as is stress, and greatly decreasing the number and viability of immune system agents in your bloodstream, as well as preventing you from being able to heal yourself. So if that's the case, and we know there are things out there that put us into fear, how can we disconnect and disengage from that? One of the best things that we can do when it comes to some of the advice that's being provided around social distancing is, keeping some social distance from the people around you, but maybe social media distance as well. It might be a time to unplug from Facebook. It might be a time to stop consuming the news from the newspapers and the news programs, because ultimately that may just be taking your power away. And considering what we can do to start empowering ourselves so we can navigate this situation without anxiety. And by being pragmatic, being practical, and being solution focused. If you are around people that have weakened immune systems, are older, pregnant, or for any other reason that we need to be careful, it's really important that we are supportive to them and do our best to support them through this, because for them that may increase the amount of fear and panic that they're suffering from, because they know that they are an at-risk category. The key thing is, no matter where you are, what your state of health, you only benefit from disengaging from the fear-mongering, panic-inducing information that is being shared. As they say, laughter is the best medicine. For any of you that have ever watched the wonderful film Patch Adams with Robin Williams, you'll know that the Gesundheit Institute in the States have been practicing laughter therapy for many, many decades. And actually keeping yourself happy and being able to make light of even the darkest of situations can massively increase your chances of being able to cope with what is otherwise a quite heavy situation. And yes, there are lots of kind of comedians and sketches and memes going around that are doing their best to make light of this heavy situation. And maybe that is a strategy that may support you, not letting it get too heavy. But also, self-isolation is being promoted. And if that is the case, and we do need to self-isolate, then think about how can we use that time constructively. Locking yourself up for 14 days may seem like a very, very scary thought, but how can you use that time to do something that you didn't get the chance to do? To tidy that bedroom that's been filled with crap that you never got round to get through those books that you never had a chance to read, to catch up on those box sets that you've been meaning to watch for ages, to spend some time writing. I've been trying to write a new book for the last year, and so far I've not got too deeply into it. If I need to self-isolate, this could be a great opportunity for me to write my new book, The Art and Science of Happiness, coming to a bookstore near you at a point in the future. But there is those things that we just never get around to. And even if it's not something that you plan, even if you spend time with your family and loved ones, to start some kind of a creative project with the kids, to paint the back bedroom, whatever it is, these are things that you can do. Spending lots of time on your phone might not necessarily be the answer. But the other key thing is keep perspective. This is something that is ultra important. I've been talking extensively about for the last couple of weeks to anyone that will listen, is let's maintain perspective. We've had about 5,500 deaths so far as a result of this infection. That is a large number. I totally take that on board. But statistically speaking, they're talking about between 1% and 2% of people that contract this virus are going to sadly not survive it. That's equating to about 1,000 people a month since this pandemic started. But let's think about other things that you are likely to die from. This month alone, we're talking about 1 million people would die from heart disease. Yeah? We're talking about 90,000 people that are going to die from car accidents. 49,000 people would die from HIV. Just the regular flu kills 38,000 people a month. Coronavirus is about 1,000. Yeah, if we're talking about suicide, that's 3,000 a day. Now you do the maths. So even though statistically speaking, these are the things that are more likely to kill us, our fears around this are massively exaggerated by the constant hype and discussions around it. The reaction is disproportionate to the risk. I'm not saying we don't need to be worried about this. I'm not saying we don't need to be careful and to take care and to pay attention to the advice that's being provided. That is not what I'm saying. But I'm also asking all of us to maintain balance and perspective around this. And also just be aware around the stressful reporting. Now, the key thing here is, what can we do? How can we empower ourselves? So the first thing is, how can you give your body the best chance of being able to, number one, avoid or manage and deal with this should you experience this? The best thing that we can do is keep yourselves fit and healthy. And that's both mentally, physically, and emotionally fit and healthy. So, supplementation is going to be good, but let's start with good old-fashioned food. Local, organic, fresh, raw produce. What I find fascinating, when I go to the supermarkets, I see many aisles that are stripped bare. They are usually things like pasta, rice, toilet paper. Now this actually gets me really concerned about society's lack of knowledge around what boosts your immune system. Because none of those things, toilet paper, pasta, tin foods, are not necessarily going to boost your immune system in any way, shape or form. What I find interesting is when you go to the fresh food aisles, the fresh produce aisles, fruits, veg, salads, green leafy vegetables, etc., they're stocked. No one's panic buying those, but actually those are the things that are going to boost your immune system. Those are the things that are filled with vitamins, minerals, nutrients that are going to keep you healthy. So stock up on those. You can buy extra fruit, extra vegetables and freeze them if you've got space for them. Far better doing that than filling up on toilet paper and pasta. Vitamin C, the old classic. One of the best, most effective things that you can do to boost your immune system. Food state vitamin C is much better than the cheap ascorbic acid derived stuff which is made in the laboratory. So being able to buy the good quality vitamins, the soluble ones, food state bioavailable ones tend to be much better. Yes, they are a bit more expensive, but going to yield much better value for you because you're going to get something out of it. Start small. We're talking about 1,000 milligrams or a gram. An hour is what you should be building up to. That's quite a lot. A lot of people think, oh, I'll take that every day. Yes, this time you can be taking it regularly. You can be taking it 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 times a day. But build up to it. Maybe sort of a couple of times a day, morning, lunchtime, and evening to start with, and then building up accordingly. If you're getting enough vitamin C into your system, there's very few viruses that are going to get through that. There's another fabulous supplement that is a real booster for the immune system, and that's vitamin D. Because many of us live in England or in Europe or America, it can be cold, it can be cloudy. We may also have a sedentary lifestyle. We may spend a lot of time indoors, not getting enough access to fresh light. That is where vitamin D supplements can be tremendous. In terms of boosting your immune system. So being able to take a vitamin D supplement every day is going to be very, very good for you. Zinc is another one. You can get vitamin C and zinc combined, which can be really great. But then the other key things, exercise. Particularly right now, because we're being told to stay away from confined spaces and congregating with other people, gyms might not be the best environment. Get out, walk the dog, have a brisk walk with the dog. Get to a park or a field where there's not a lot of people around so you can maintain your social distancing. So fresh air, oxygen, outdoor exercise. Go for a run, ride your bike, anything that's going to help. Yes, I appreciate we're just coming out winter. There still may be some storms and some rain. But whenever you can, get out. And if nothing else, get an umbrella and just get outdoors. So remember, sunlight, fresh air. Also general time to disconnect and relax. Put your phone away. Meditate. Be mindful. Listen to some music. Get good sleep. Sleep is such a fantastic booster for your general well-being and your immune system. Stay well hydrated. Be drinking at least 3 litres of water a day. It helps to just keep the system flushed and flush out any toxins that you may have accumulating. So, and be present. Look at what is happening right here, right now. Don't start panicking about the future. Mahatma Gandhi said we spend 90% of our time worrying about things that will never come to pass. If we think that the world's coming to an end, you are actively contributing to the world coming to an end. And also, if we're starting to worry about things that have already happened, that's already passed. If your football team couldn't play, or the Euros have been cancelled, or your holiday's been cancelled, and you're getting stressed about all this kind of stuff, these are things that you don't have power over. This present moment is where you have the power. What can you do in this present moment? And as I said, there are many of us that are now going to be self-isolating, contained at home, potentially working from home in self-isolation. This is a tough time, and this can be very scary, and chronic loneliness is something we were already starting to experience as a serious issue before coronavirus reared its head. So this is where let's use our technology responsibly. FaceTime, Skype, WhatsApp video, check in on friends, families, colleagues, have virtual meetings, have virtual social interactions, get together for a movie night and with all your friends and do a Netflix at the same time while you're looking at each other and interacting and talking about it, get the same snacks. But this is an opportunity for community. Reach out to the vulnerable members of your community, older people, frail people, elderly people, people that might need a hand going to the shops or walking their dogs. This is a time for love and compassion. This is not a time for fear and panic. And what we do right now will either, number one, show the best in humanity and our ability to come together to create a supportive network and potentially a paradigm for a better future, or we will go into panic buying, fear mongering, let's all buy guns and bring on the apocalypse. Now, I believe in the goodness in humanity, and I believe in the positive potential for us to be able to navigate even the most challenging of situations, of some good to come out of it. And this is why I'm encouraging each and every single one of you to consider how you can take personal responsibility of your role in this global crisis, because we are in this together, and I'm hoping we can come together and come out of it as a closer, more cohesive, more loving and more compassionate global community. Wishing you well, stay safe, stay healthy, and we are, as far as the current guidance is concerned, operating business as usual. Our doors are open, and even if we go into full lockdown and we're asked to shut our offices, we'll be working from home. If any of our team members get compromised and the 2-6 work, there'll be others to take their place. We're not going away, and we're here to support you as best as we can, and we encourage you to support each other. Much love from me and all the team. Wishing you all the best.